Welcome back to our ongoing series of how to have a baby through surrogacy. We are now in our second trimester. The second trimester, if you don't speak the lingo, is the middle one of three. It covers you from 13 weeks pregnant when baby is about the size of a biscuit to week 28 of the pregnancy when baby is about the size of a piglet, or let's say a kitten. That's probably a much nicer comparison. At this stage, this is when you might feel more comfortable telling people that you're pregnant. It might get to the stage where you can no longer hide that you're pregnant if you didn't want to talk about it. It will be the stage where you need to, if you're a straight couple, decide how you're going to approach that, and that's a whole separate area that I can't really advise in. And as a same-sex couple, it's when you're going to start getting people's opinions. And as most of us know, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And some of them are more disgusting than others. So be prepared who's the real dad. That's a doozy. That'll probably come from family members more. Be prepared for I don't agree with it. That will happen. So get used to the idea that people are going to start having their own thoughts, and that this pregnancy is no longer just about you and your partner and your surrogate. There's going to be more involvement coming in. But on the plus side, now is also the time when, as people start to find out, you'll start to get gifts and hand-me-downs, and there'll be a lot of people coming out of the woodwork with stuff, some of which you'll want, some of which you won't, but it will all certainly be good to go through. Especially if you're approaching from a surrogacy world, there will be lots of people around you that have got stuff to pass on, and it is great. Now, bearing in mind that by the end of this trimester, the baby can hear outside of the womb, one of the things that we did, which was genius, was get something called belly buds. Now, these are little speakers which go on the surrogate's belly, and she can play messages, recordings of the IP's voices. So baby kind of gets used to the idea of other people's voices and can hear you. Belly buds, very much recommend it. Worked very well for us. Now, I must confess that within the first 12 weeks, pretty much almost straight away, we told a couple of very close friends that we were pregnant, because we wanted that emotional support in case anything went wrong. Bearing in mind this was our third attempt, and we were struggling a little bit. But we didn't tell any family members, because if anything went wrong again, we didn't want to have to deal with their grief as well as our own. But now we're on to the 12-week stage. We are going to start telling our family, our close family, particularly the mothers. That's going to be interesting. Because they're all expecting news. They've been aware of our surrogacy journey now for 2 of the last 3 years we've been doing it. We wanted to try and mix it up a bit. They will guess, if we give them a card, here you go, they're going to go, pregnancy scan, it's a baby, that we know what it is. So we have mixed it up a bit. I've kind of slid into conversation that I've got a bit of a thing for scratch cards at the moment. I haven't, or maybe I have now. But we've got these scratch cards made up on the Tinterweb, and when you scratch it off, it says, we're having a baby. So that's the plan. We will give that to the mums to announce it, and then follow it up with the scan that we got at our week 12 appointment with baby all kicked back. This, I hope, will be special.
What does it say?
We are having a baby. Are you? Are you?
Yes.
We are having a baby, yeah.
Well, the mums now know. There were tears, excitement, some frustration that they hadn't won 100 grand on the scratch cards that we'd given them. Next up, a few more family members, and then Do we announce it online? No, we're still too early. 13 weeks in. We probably won't announce it until we have a baby. That'll be a shock.
So, Boss Knows presented a plan, how much time I would require off. I'm entitled to 9 months off. I'm asking for 2. So yeah, parental leave, agreed, just got to be written up. A little interruption here to give you some more information about your rights when it comes to parental leave. When it comes to a surrogacy, most companies will use adoption leave policy, but one important thing to consider is if you are self-employed, you will get no support from the government whatsoever. Doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, if you're self-employed, you'll get no government assistance. So that is an important thing to include, to think about, and it certainly affected our situation. The person that is entitled to it is someone who is fully employed and has been for 6 months or more in that particular business, and the government will support them to give you 90% of your wages, for 6 weeks. That's your entitlement, and after that it goes down to statutory, which is about £184 a week, which still gets taxed, which still gets national insurance on it as well. And that will then continue, I think, for up to like 9 months. So if you can afford to just take that little slither, then that's your option, and you can have that time off. Legally, the businesses have to do that, and fingers crossed, it will be a nice, smooth conversation with your boss. Back to the video. This is going to be a better day. Yes, it's time for the private scan.
This is baby's stomach, baby's drinking well. That's the bladder.
So we went for a private scan as a company that could do it, which would allow us to film and take pictures and invite whoever we wanted in there with us. And we took the 3 mums, mine, Michael and Alex's, and her little boy. And that was a special moment because up to that point, the mums hadn't really felt it was as real necessarily. They saw Alex only sporadically. But yeah, seeing the scan for real, and the bit that always gets me is when they're doing the scan on the video and you actually see baby move inside. Blows my mind. Anyway, did the scan, mums loved it. I was a little disappointed. The person doing the sonographering was being very careful to avoid certain parts. This is because Alex didn't want us to know the gender. This was a separate reveal. She found out privately. A few days later, on Father's Day, this is when she told us. I mean, genius timing, or what? We're just about to find out if we're having a boy or a girl. It's Father's Day, and Alex is coming round to tell us. I'm not sure if I'm nervous or if I just need a wee and I'm a bit hungry. It's the spine.
What? It's a girl. What we thought. Hey.
Did we want a boy or a girl? I mean, we were feeling lucky either way. We were not expecting to have anything for a long time. But we are having a baby girl. Now we are referring to the bump as a she. It's all got rather scary. We are now 20 weeks in, and that's halfway. So time for another midwife visit. At this stage of the pregnancy, we're seeing the midwife every 3 weeks
towards the end, it will go to every 2 weeks. Your midwife will become very important when it comes to liaising with the hospital staff, so make sure you get on and she is rooting for you. Well, we have just had our latest midwife scan. We have to have them every 3 weeks from now on. We're at 25 weeks, which I think is just over 6 months pregnant, which I can't quite get my head around. They've done all the measurements, everything is looking good. Little baby PB has a slightly larger than expected belly, which means she's either inheriting off of me or potentially it could be an early indication of gestational diabetes, which is apparently quite a common risk and something that Alex is going to try desperately hard to avoid by being tip-top perfect with her diet. In all honesty, as far as what she eats goes, she's super healthy anyway, but the test that we did was just after 2 birthdays, her birthday and Michael's birthday, and she was loaded up on birthday cake. So yeah, I don't think that helped. So hopefully when she goes in for the next test, everything will have all leveled out and she won't be at risk for gestational diabetes. She's had a bout of, now I keep saying Branston Hicks, and that is because she was pushing herself too hard. She's got quite big now, it's like a proper baby in there and everything. So she needs to start to relax and not push herself so hard, because she is getting the Branston Hick belly pains, which was quite scary when she told us that. But other than that, it's all moving forward at a rapid pace. We've got far too much work going on in the house in preparation. We had plans to have like a nursery done and enlarged our kitchen, but that was meant to have been done a year ago, and everything took too long, and now we've got no kitchen, no dining room, and no nursery either, because we have a family member lodging there temporarily. So it's all starting to get a little bit stressful. We were told last week, I believe, that baby is viable. So theoretically, if anything did happen and baby was born early, from this point her chances of survival are quite high. So that kind of takes the pressure off of us a little bit. And yet we still haven't relaxed, because we're still waiting for it to become real. Although hearing the heartbeat today was quite a big step in that. She's got a good heartbeat.
We're off to have a test to see if we have gestational diabetes. And by we, I don't actually mean me.
So, gestational diabetes, similar to regular diabetes, I guess. It just comes when you're pregnant and goes when you're no longer pregnant, I think. An issue with regulating the sugar. If you have gestational diabetes, I think there can be some small risks to the child that you need to watch out for, control what you're eating, that kind of thing. So last scan that we had, Alex had one of the measurements suggested that possibly, maybe in the future, in the pregnancy, gestational diabetes could be on the cards. So she went in today to drink some horrible fluids which spiked her sugar, and then there was a follow-up blood test 2 hours later, so we were waiting for that, and tomorrow she'll find out if she has it or not. I mean, she eats really well anyway, so I'm not too concerned. I think when she had the test last time, she just had a birthday and birthday cake. And also, apparently, the measurement that they took is the size of the baby's belly in relation to the size of the rest of the baby. And bellies can be bigger and smaller depending on whether they just drunk or not, because I'm learning all about amniotic fluid, and the baby drinks it and then wheezes in it and then drinks it again. And the more water that you can drink as the pregnant surrogate in this case, the better, because it keeps the amniotic fluid nice and dilute. They're not drinking too much piss, which is nice. So yeah, find out tomorrow if gestational diabetes is on the cards or not. 7 months pregnant, nearly. Flying by.
The results came back as inconclusive. You're probably all right. Let's keep an eye on it. Helpful, huh? So we have a 6-month pregnancy, and we're off now to look at preschool and nurseries, which I can't get my head around. It seems crazy, but because of a change of rules and more government support on childcare, waiting lists are huge. So we need to book our future baby's nursery place now. Not ready for this. Well, that was overwhelming. Going into a room full of very, very small babies and small people before you've got one of your own to discuss routines and nappies and feeding. We've got another couple to see. It just seems crazy. I felt a little overwhelmed. We tried to book a nursery space. They are fully booked, and we are a 1.5 years early. So yeah, we thought we were being overly cautious. Turns out we weren't cautious enough. So by the end of the 2nd trimester, you need to start getting yourself a bit more prepared with the practical stuff if you haven't already. You should be thinking about buggies and bassinets and all of that malarkey, but you definitely should be thinking about car seats. Car seats is the one thing that the hospital will not let you leave without having. They need to see you with the baby in the car seat and then make sure they're safe. The other thing, nursery spaces. Now, I know it seems ridiculous. We were only 5 months pregnant and the spaces that we wanted were already gone. By the end of the 2nd trimester, which is about 6 months of pregnancy, you should probably have something reserved. This was also the stage that we started putting down our baby's journey into a book for them to enjoy in the future. We're expecting not to have a great deal of spare time moving forwards. And it's also the point where my other half and I started to have a few serious conversations just to prepare us for once baby's here, because we are very much aware that it could get a bit stressy and probably wouldn't be the time to have some very deep and meaningfuls once there's a screaming infant in the mix. And I'm talking about questions like, how are we going to manage the night feeds? How are we going to do that? How likely are we to get stressed when we're tired? And what does that look like? And what is the best way to deal with that? What's the best way to support each other when they're feeling down? When's the best time to bring the family over? How soon and how often? When is a good time to announce it online? Are you going to bother announcing it online? So get some of these answers ready. Have a good chat about this stuff now, because later it's probably not going to be as easy. Okay, that's the end of trimester 2. See you next time. Like, follow and subscribe, and ta-ra.